race fans, welcome back. This is round 3 of MSXC East Fork Creek.
Here's our lineup.
We have Jeff Filliman, Jeremy Reed, Joe Brown, Chris Berry, Jeremy Watkins, Will Wilkinson, Josh Curtis, and Donnie Bell lining up for Senior C. All right, watching for the green flag. And we're off. And going into turn 1, you have Joe Brown, followed by Jeremy Reed, Chris Berry, Josh Curtis, Jeff Filliman, and myself. Kind of headed out on course here. You can see the course a little bit muddy, but not too bad given that it rained a little bit the week heading up to this race. It actually could have been a lot worse. The rider coming up on my left is Devin Simpson. Got a couple of creek crossings here. I probably took them a little bit faster than I wanted to, and I soaked my left hand, which was frozen for the rest of the first lap. So this was the first decent hill, and you'll see I find a line between two trees right here, and then I get stopped dead in my tracks. I had gotten tangled in some barbed wire. Got it wrapped right around the gear shift. That's what stopped me dead in my tracks. I'm trying to get unwound here and trying to encourage the other riders not to get stuck like I did. It took me 2.5 to 3 minutes to get out of this entanglement. Sounds like a swarm of angry bees. Alright, so got out of that entanglement and got back on course. So this rider here in front of me on the Yamaha is a J.D. Spalding. That rider in front of him is Devin Simpson, who I passed down near the creek. Thanks, Devin. Zip around JD here, little bump there. No worries, nobody's hurt. So we're coming down this long hill here, and then I'm going to turn hard left, and you'll see the traffic jam we got going here. So I'm going to slip past Mr. Trent Ashby here, number 369. And I'll go to the left of Tyler Anderson, and I will make my attempt at the hill. somehow I was able to maintain traction and keep my momentum up, and I made it up the hill first chance, so I was pretty happy about that. We're coming up to the old barn that they took us through. It's pretty cool when they take us through the barns. There's a couple of properties and races where they do that. So we're going to go down this section here, go up this nice hill. I love these nice long hill climbs where you can really open it up. So this rider in front of me with the MSXC sweatshirt on, that's the David Barbed. And we're kind of held up by Mr. Kiffin Jones. He took out an older XR and raced it. It was pretty impressive. In front of David Barbed is Mark Wathan, up there in the blue sweatshirt. I'm still not a super aggressive passer. Still get kind of nervous when we're in, the thick wooded sections about passing. I'm afraid I'm gonna swing out to pass and I'm gonna find a tree. As you can see, there are many of them. It's like they don't like to give up their ground. They just stay put, no matter how hard you hit them. Alright, so I got my way around David there. And Mark kind of blew the turn a little bit, so I was able to get in on the inside line there and get past Mark. If only Mark would have seen the trail markings. So you see a pretty big hole there on the left. I went around that, never got a chance to find out how deep that hole was. I heard we lost some really good riders down some of these really deep holes. So coming up on Jeff here, if you recall, that was the first rider I fist bumped in the starting line. And then zip around him on this hill. I really like these creek sections that they take us through. You saw that bridge that I just went over, or under. That's the bridge you go over right before you hit the finish line in the timing tent. So you see to the left as I come up out of the creek section, to the left right here was a creek jump. And I chose to go around that every time. I'll admit I was a little intimidated by it. Got a pretty fast section coming up right here. I was able to look down a couple times and saw I was topping 50 miles an hour along this stretch. This rider right here on the right, that was Jeremy Reed there. His hands were freezing. I heard that a lot from other riders, that their hands were getting pretty cold in the first lap. My left hand was cold because I got it wet. That rider right there that we just passed, that was Sawyer Kelly. She's number 56. You might have heard me just mutter under my breath saying I remember that part. I did remember that section of the trail from a past race. Kind of a unique section because it's an off-camber slate rock. It gets pretty slippery when it's wet. This rider here in the blue, that's a buddy rider from Team Hash. So this section here was probably the muddiest, soupiest hole, slipperiest snot kind of hole that they had. And it wasn't too bad. I've seen it worse. This rider here that I'm coming up on, that's Joe Sidoris from Vet C. This rider here had the right idea with the flannel, keeping warm. This is Wyatt Yaden from Light C, that's row 13. So all in all, I was really happy with the course layout. Lots of good hill climbs and high ground. The folks that laid out the course, they stayed clear of the soupy mud holes and the quicksand. There were some familiar sections from past races, but still a good mix of new course. There's Cash. Shout out to Cash and crew for keeping us out of the mud holes. I know they probably hate having to extract stuck riders just as much as stuck riders hate to be stuck. So this rider here I'm coming up on, I didn't catch what number he was. I didn't see a number on him. So he's my mystery rider for the day. Long stretch here coming up to Pro Hill. Coming up on the left, you'll see two folks. That's Josh Curtis's brother and nephew, who I met that day. So coming up to Pro Hill, I wasn't quite sure where the go-around was. So I had to ask for directions.
Where's the go-around? Where's the go-around?
There we go, off to the left. Never really got a good look at Pro Hill to see if it looked like something that I should have tried. I was really playing it safe after getting entangled in the barbed wire. I didn't want to take any more risks than I had to. I felt like I was already behind for the entire race because of that. That barbed wire really slowed me down right off the start. So you just saw the bridge that we crossed over the creek. Here I come through the timing tent. It said third place, but when the official score came out, I was actually in fourth place, and I was in fourth every time I came through the timing tent. Coming back through the creek crossing, taking a little bit easier, not splashing as much. I didn't want to get my hands wet again. So you'll see I take it a little easier through the creek. Alright, so coming up to the barbed wire hill again, I made sure that I steered well clear of where the barbed wire was, and you can see they put some tape up, but the barbed wire was still there, so I made sure I went around it. Wasn't gonna make that mistake again. Alright, so I got kind of stuck on the hill a little bit here. That rider just to my left, that's Mike Ford. You'll see him a couple more times throughout the video. So I'm trying to get back on course here. I got some momentum with the bike, and I just started running alongside of it until I could get a foot on a foot peg and then throw my leg over. Didn't want to stop to get on the bike, so I just kind of ran uphill with it. I kind of spun out there and threw Mike Ford off his line. You can see he tips over. I think he actually clipped my rear fender trying to get around me. But no worries, nobody's hurt. We keep on going. Coming up to the barn again. On lap 1, I kind of went wide right. This time I kind of straightened out that line, took a quicker line through here. It's one of the things you want to try to do is to improve your lines as you go through the race. You got to remember your sections. This rider I'm coming up on now, this is Nathan Yates, and he lets me on by. And there goes Mike Ford again. And that rider that just said thank you, that was Wyatt Marshall. Coming into the creek section again. There's that hole that leads to the center of the earth. I like these creek sections. I feel like I can go pretty fast through them and pick up some time. See, I gained a little bit on Mr. Ford there in the creek section. Coming to the other side of the creek crossing again. Going into this little creek and going under the bridge. So this rider in front of me, this is Charles Swanson, making his way through the creek. And that's Travis Hardcastle that just got by us. And this rider I'm coming up on now might be Wesley Hurt. It's kind of tough to tell from the numbers on the helmet that were covered up. That rider there, pretty sure was Glenn Hines. He too was hard to identify. He didn't have his helmet stickers or row sticker on that I could see.
Shit. They're all gone. All my tear-offs.
So, I don't know if you just caught that or not, but I was commenting on how they're all gone. I was talking about my tear-offs. I put 5 tear-offs on at the beginning of the race, and apparently when I went to take off the first tear-off, I pulled all of them off at the same time and didn't realize it until that point. That rider that just passed me there, that was Dustin Malam. That was Mason Gambrel. There was Steven Self. You can see Mike Ford up there zipping through the woods. Doing a pretty good job getting through this tight stuff. Looking good, Mike. Here we're coming down into that soupy section. It didn't really deteriorate as the race went on. It held up pretty well. This rider here is Hunter Doss, giving his KDX a little kick.
Ooh-wee.
So Mike Ford is racing in Master C class, which if I make it to my 50th birthday next year, I should be racing in his class with him. Looks like he's going to give me a pretty good run for my money, too. So I forgot to mention in that creek part where you go under the bridge. Oh, there goes Brock McCoy that just passed me. In that creek section under the bridge, in lap 3, I tried to pass somebody in the creek section and got a little wild and got to find out how deep some of those water holes were. So if you check out Jeremy Reed's video, he's behind me when I go through that creek section, and you get a pretty good view of my shenanigans. Not the most graceful. Right there, Josh Curtis just passed me. I was pretty surprised to see him. I figured he was way, way out in front of me. So imagine my surprise when I saw him. And now I'm just trying to stay on him. That's Landon Myers. We just about swapped some paint there. So Josh later told me that that first big hill climb that he saw the traffic on, he was stuck on that hill all far off to the left. And if you actually go back and look at the footage and you look far to the left, you'll see Josh in the woods over there. This was a fun race. Really enjoyed it. Was a little worried that it might be too muddy, but conditions were good. It was a little cold, but it was a good race. Had a lot of fun. As I mentioned, Jeremy Reed got some good footage. He was behind me for a while. he got past me towards the end of the third lap and ended up taking third place for the day. Josh Curtis, he took second, and Joe Brown took first. So good job, gentlemen. Way to go. I'll put a link in the description for Jeremy Reed's video if you want to take a look at that. So, as always, thank you for watching. If you like what you see here, hit that like button. If you want to see more of these and you want to get notified, then make sure you subscribe and you turn on the notifications. If you have any suggestions for an enduro, I'm considering doing an enduro. I haven't done an enduro since I was a kid, so I would be a complete noob at it. If you got any suggestions for enduro hopefully in the Tennessee area, I'm in Nashville, so I don't want to travel halfway across the country to do an enduro. So if you know of any in Tennessee, maybe northern Alabama, northern Georgia, maybe Kentucky area, put it in the comments. I'm not looking for a hard enduro, just looking for a regular, maybe a sprint enduro. So interested in seeing what you guys suggest. Also, I made an effort to call out as many riders as I could in this video. If I got anybody's name wrong, let me know in the comment section. So until next time, happy racing.
Is this the line? Oh no, this ain't gonna work. What? You're in third though. You're in third. How'd that happen?